I now recognise Declan Rice as a world-class midfielder. His transformation from West Ham when he was playing at centre-back all the way to featuring for Arsenal in big games, not just in the Premier League, but also in the Champions League as well, putting in man-of-the-match performances. I can't speak highly enough of the player, man. He's exceptional. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications. Without any further ado, let's get into this one. So Declan Rice made his debut for West Ham back in the 17-18 season, and since then he went from strength to strength. He helped West Ham win their first major honour in so many years, the Conference League back in 2023, if I'm not mistaken, captained the side. He started off as a centre-back, then he moulded his game into a DM for West Ham, putting out top performances against some of the best sides in the league. So from 17-18 to the 22-23 season, he was balling out for West Ham in different positions. You understand? Obviously, we got... Say hi to the viewers, man. You understand? So yeah, man, Declan Rice was definitely, his stocks were rising and he was getting into the England side, putting out very good performances, featuring very heavily in tournaments like the European Championships back in 2021, the World Cup as well, and obviously he took his game to another level at Arsenal. But for West Ham, don't get twisted, he was balling out. Let's not lie, he was balling out still. He was instrumental to West Ham becoming, they made the push for European football multiple seasons, and he was at the heart of everything, getting big goals in that time. I remember the goal he got in the 1920 season at lockdown. I forgot, I think it's against Watford, I'm not mistaken. That was a brilliant strike from long range. Then obviously the 18-19 season, he got his first goal against Arsenal in a 1-0 win. Obviously, let me check his stats from the 1920 season. I know for a DM, stats don't mean anything. Obviously, he featured 38 games, ever present for West Ham in the 1920 season, when they had a big revival under David Moyes, I'm not mistaken, in the second part of the season. 1 goal, 3 assists. And yeah, man, his stocks was definitely rising. But people was being critical in terms of they didn't feel like Declan Rice was worth the hype, because they didn't feel like his passing range wasn't as good as what people was making out to be. Now, for Declan Rice, yeah, one thing I'll say about Declan Rice, at West Ham, you can tell that he had very good ball playing ability. Hence why he moved from centre back to midfield, and he had the physical presence about him. He was tall, he was physical, and he can actually shield the back line. You understand? So there's a reason why they moved him from centre back to DM. And on the ball, I actually watched West Ham a lot of them times, and there was passes that he was putting off that people weren't really appreciating. Like, he has a long pass in him, but people will say, "Oh, he doesn't pass forward like that." When he was at West Ham, he didn't pass forward as much as he does at Arsenal. But don't get it twisted, he always had a ping on him. And them diagonal switches to either Bowen or not Lingard, who was on the wings at the time. There was Antonio, who was up top. They had Bowen. They also had Lanzini as well, who will do a shift out wide sometimes. Ben Rama, like, let's not get twisted. He had a long diag on him, but obviously people don't want to give him the credit for that. They just saw him as a basic midfielder. You understand? Which I thought was far from the case. But yeah, West Ham, he done his thing. Then he got the move to Arsenal in the 23-24 season for £105 million, I'm not mistaken. Obviously making him one of the most expensive players in Premier League history, because Arsenal and Manchester City was fighting it out to get Declan Rice. And when you have the two teams that finish in the top 2 at the end of the 22-23 season, and they want you that badly, that goes to show the caliber of player Declan Rice was, and the potential that he could reach when if he plays for one of those 2 teams. But eventually he went to Arsenal, and let's just say he definitely made an impact at Arsenal. Do you understand? Obviously, he was brought in to be a DM, but Arteta saw his game much more than a guy that just shields the back line. He saw him as in terms of he can carry the ball. He also has a good long range strike in him. He can get assists. He's a threat from set pieces, which he definitely improved on as years gone by. And again, the physical presence about him. So he changed him from a 6 to an 8. And let's just say Declan Rice game had definitely involved that season. 23-24 season, if you look at the stats, he was one of the players of the year that season. Instrumental to Arsenal's title challenge that season, which they finished second. And yeah, man, he got into the team of the year, rightly so. So he was ever present again in the 24 season. 7 goals, 7 assists that season. I remember the long range strike against his former club West Ham away from home, and he didn't celebrate. He has a wonder of a right foot in terms of long range strikes. You understand? He got the crucial goal against Brentford towards the end of that season. And one thing that people don't talk about Declan Rice is his ability to stay fit. Like his availability is very good, and in terms of his threats from set pieces, boy on boy, he can take a free kick, bro, and he can take corners as well to a very, very good level. Which I'll talk about the free kicks as this video goes on. So 23-24 season, got nominated for Player of the Year. He made it to the PFA Team of the Year, rightly so. And yeah, man, Declan Rice, he was starting to get recognised as one of the very best midfielders in the league. And in that time, I had him as top 2 midfielders in the league. And as of right now, I personally have him top 2 midfielders in the league. But let's talk about the 24-25 season, because I'll be naive if I said Declan Rice started the season well in the 24-25 season, because I don't think he did. He wasn't bad, but it wasn't the Declan Rice that we was used to seeing at the start of that season, 24-25 season. Obviously, he was better than the rest, but Arsenal was unconvincing. They didn't win 3 games in a row that season, obviously last season, but you could say he was one of the shining lights of that team in that spell from September to January. But in my opinion, I believe it was average, in my humble opinion. It's not better on Declan Rice. It's just how highly I rate him, the expectation I have of him. You understand? So, yeah, man. But the second half of that season, when Arsenal, faltered in their quest to end their 20-year wait for a Premier League title, and yeah, man, he definitely rose his performance as a number 8 again. He was getting goals, he was getting assists, he was taking set pieces to an extremely high level, he was shielding the back line, he was intercepting play, he was tackling, like he was molded into a complete midfielder. And he got criticised a lot in Euro 2024 of his use of the ball in it. But let me tell you, he definitely improved from Euro 2024 on the ball. I didn't think it was as bad as what people were making out anyway, but you can tell the levels from Euro 2024 when he was playing on the ball to how he is now. 2 completely different types of ways he plays with a football. And the crowning moment, it was the free kick against Real Madrid. The first free kick, absolutely delightful, but people will question Real Madrid's wall and whether Courtois should have saved it. But there was no doubts about the second one, though. That was right in the top bins. One of the greatest free kicks you will ever see in your life. And not 1, but 2 man of the match performances against the biggest club in the world at Emirates and also at the Santiago Bernabeu. That says a lot about Declan Rice. And that's when, at that moment, he solidified world-class status. Because he went away from home against the biggest club in the world and he absolutely dominated that midfield that was filled with... The first day he dominated the midfield that had the likes of Bellingham, Camavinga, and in the second day Camavinga was suspended. He also dominated the midfield with the likes of Valverde. He was playing that right back, but he was also... Like in certain parts of the game, he was inverted into the midfield. Jude Bellingham couldn't get a sniff. Shermani couldn't get a sniff. Yeah, man, it was a dominant performance from Declan Rice. And in the Premier League as well, he was doing this thing, coming up with goals against Manchester United. Bournemouth, even though they lost that game, that Declan Rice in that second half of the season was definitely Arsenal's best player. The first half of the season, I believe it was average, but it wasn't trash. But it was average to his standards. The second half of the season, that's the Declan Rice that we've seen in the 23-24 season, but better, with more to his game. And again, for his country, he does his thing as well, man. Like, there's a reason why he's ever present in that England side. Wherever he's fit, you play him because he gives you the best possible chance of winning. You understand? So let me see if I can bring up the stats from the last season to back up my point. And from last season, Declan Rice got 4 goals and 7 assists, featured 35 times. 35 times he featured last season. And he was again put into the Team of the Year for the 24-25 season. So that's back-to-back Team of the Year appearances for Declan Rice in the Arsenal colours. And no doubt he's going to continue to show why he's a world-class player and one of the best midfielders in the world. I personally have him around in the top 7 of midfielders in the world. But in terms of Premier League, he's definitely top 2. And when I say top 7, I have there's likes of Pedri, Vitinha, Jude Bellingham. You got the likes of Barella. Me personally, McAllister. Like there's McAllister's in that bracket of top 7 midfielders in the world. But Declan Rice, in my humble opinion, I'll slightly put above him because I think Declan Rice, he has the defensive side of the game and also can get forward as well. I feel like him going forward and him defensively is around the same level. I feel like he's an 8 out of 10 going forward and 8 out of 10 defensively, innit? So yeah, man, I can't speak enough high on Declan Rice, and yeah, he's one of few Arsenal players that I actually rate very highly. So yeah, man, there's my take on Declan Rice, why he's a world-class player. Let me know your thoughts on Declan Rice. What do you think of him as a player, and do you believe that he can go up to a different level from what we're seeing now? Because I genuinely believe he can, because he's adding goals to his game, he's adding assists, he's molded into a complete midfielder. He just needs the trophies at Arsenal to fully solidify that world-class status to many people, but not for me. I've seen enough. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe, and until then, I'm out. One.